the mindset's now switched. You're not competing with builders. You're here to help each other. Because if you help them, they're going to help you. So you're going to grow quicker and they're going to grow quicker. That was a big learning curve for me. And yeah, especially watching your stuff, like we're all in it together.
G'day guys, welcome back to another episode of Level Up. We are back in the shed and again we have another cracking episode for you. I'm very appreciative. These guys have actually flown up today all the way from Tassie and I'm sure you're going to know who they are, but massive warm welcome to Kyle and Matt from Zanetto Builders. How are you guys?
Yeah, great. Thanks, mate. It's a bloody pleasure to be up here with you boys.
Mate, I just think it's amazing that you guys are willing to put in the time and the effort and fly up and jump on a podcast and tell your story. So thanks very much for coming. You guys know, like, the reason I do all this stuff is because the people watching, listening to this, like, I'm on a mission to create a new industry, like one where builders run great businesses, get respected, but clients get great outcomes and get what they deserve. And like, I followed you for a while. Like, we met on Instagram, we've had a few chats, and I think it's good, mate, what you're doing. Like, you're sort of setting a standard down in Tassie, I think, for some of the work you're doing.
Yeah, like, I guess for me, it was all about storytelling and telling the story of what I've done so far. And I think seeing you on Instagram really sparked something in me that you're on a mission to help people like me that are early on in our building careers and going through the tough times. And the more we can all talk about it and band together, the quicker we're going to raise that bar in the industry. And there's going to be less issues for blokes like me and less hard times. So yeah, it's definitely a great thing.
I think I just heard you saying before, like, you're learning a lot just by networking, jumping on social media, reaching out, asking questions. That's pretty good to do that.
Yeah, I find the most value I can get is just by going and talking to people, going and talking to the builders that are 40, 50, 60 years old. Like, they're the blokes that have been and done it. They're the blokes that have already earned their respect and they've already seen the things that I'm going to see in the next 20 years. So if I can sit down at the pub with them for 2 hours and have a beer and get one nugget out of them, that can make a difference to my life. And if I can do that with 10 builders in 6 months, what's that going to do for me, for my personal development? Like, it's going to make my growth exponential. Yeah.
And so, Matt, you're now working for Kyle?
Yep.
And so do you mind me telling a little bit of story, mate?
No, go ahead. Let's lay it out on the table.
So most people know I have a business with Amelia, Live Like Build, and a couple of times a year we do a bit of an introductory course called Launchpad, and Matt jumped on that.
I went whole hog. I jumped on Elevate and went the whole thing and doubled down on it.
Yeah, you went through Launchpad and then I think, like, we had a phone conversation. You're like, you were getting married, I think.
When I talked to you, I was about 2 weeks off getting married, had the best day of my life, and then the day after it was like the worst scenario I could possibly be in. And then I had a phone call with Duayne, and when last time we talked, I was at rock bottom.
Yeah, and mate, I could feel it through the phone. Like, I actually come home and I was talking to Camille about it, and I don't know, I sort of felt good and bad. Like, I was like, because we had that conversation and it was awesome. Like, I'd talked to you joined Elevate, and I'm like, yes, another builder, we're going to get on track. But then I felt really bad because I'm like, fuck, like, the shit he's just learned in 2 weeks, he's now put into practice and he's realised his business is fucked. Like,
yeah. It's but to be honest, what I did learn in the month or two I was in, like, I'm a go-getter. If something's not right, I'll double down. I'll go harder. I'll work through it. But what Elevate gave me was the freedom and the honesty and the breakdown of ego that I could go, hey, let's break it down completely. Like, and I had to swallow a lot of pride to shut my business down. I went in, and this is before I decided to shut down. I went in to see Kyle and we were just talking, and it, like, what Duayne and Amelia gave me was the vehicle to be able to go be honest with people and talk to them. And then from that, I was like, okay, let's break it down, and then let's cut it all the way back. Let's sell what we got, and let's start from the start and work on myself first, and then let's work on everything else. And we'll start, like, one day I'll be back, but at the minute I'm back working on myself and just slowly building. I've cut it right back. I
think the ownership you've taken, mate, is incredible, because, like, that second conversation we had a week or not long after you'd come back from your wedding, and you'd had a block of land, you just got married, you're gonna bet to build your dream home, and then all of a sudden you're like, fuck, I've got to sell this. Like, I can't do what I want to do. But like, to take that ownership, like I think I said to you on the phone, like, you will just exponentially get to where you need to be now because you've taken that ownership. Like, yes, it's a kick in the guts to step back and sell that block of land, but like, and to be honest, like, to be working with someone like Kyle now and the projects you build and the knowledge that he's got, like, yeah, you're going to kick some goals.
Exactly. Like, at the time, it felt like I was drowning in the ocean. And now that I've worked through it, it's like a drop in a puddle. You know what I mean? But at that time, you're that stressed and it's that overwhelming that you feel like you're about to drown. I remember sitting on the coffee table crying into my newly wedded wife's stomach going, I feel so trapped. But then to be able to work through that purely through communicating with like-minded people and working out solutions to problems, I'm like, this is, at the minute, I'm in the highlight of my building career, and it's only going to get better. So it's just the turnaround you can have in mentality. Like, if you feel swallowed by stuff, but if you can break it down into small increments, you can kick goals. But it takes a lot to be able to get to that point of realization and stripping yourself back. It's a hard thing to do, but it's the best thing you'll do.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, like, it's a true testament to your character to go from where you were to come back and have the humility to say, yep, I need a break, I need some help. And then the way you've come into the company and the way you approach situations, like, not every bloke could do that. Not everyone could tuck their ego in their back pocket and get through it. So, no, it's been a great experience.
Yeah, because you've been through some tough times as well, haven't you?
Oh, mate, that's why we're all here.
Yeah.
Mine were probably brought upon me by myself, as we all are. Like, I was my own worst enemy. Motivation and I suppose just trying to constantly overachieve and burn the candle at both ends is what brought me to, I think I had 3 mental breakdowns through between probably 2023, not 2023, probably between 3 and 5 years ago, to the point where I was like, Matt, I was depressed. I was working 100 hours a week and I'd be in the car and I'd start crying and I wouldn't know why, just because I was so burnt out. And once I went through that 3 times, it took me to put my ego away and say, yep, all right, now I need help, otherwise this is going to go somewhere.
So what
really
was
bad.
happening at the time? Like, were you just starting out in business, or were you under pressure because you weren't making money on jobs? Like, what?
There was a few things. So we're probably 3-4 years in business. At that stage, so workload was massive. Financial pressures were always there, and then relationship issues. So my escape from where I was not having a successful relationship was buried in work. That's how I would escape my personal life. And the more you escape your personal life and bury yourself in work, the worse your personal life gets, and the more you get buried in work. Yeah. Until you come down and you go, fuck, I'm here now. And I went through that once and had a breakup, which was due to my own fault. And then the second time, the situation was flipped, and I was, that's another story we can get into later, but also a very difficult situation. Yeah. And then after that, I was like, yep, I want to reach out now and start turning things around, because it was negatively impacting my health, my ability to see my family and hang out with my friends and love someone. Yeah.
No, I think it's awesome that, like, especially at your guys' age too, like, you're still really young, and like, especially with the quality of work you're turning out now, like, man, and the knowledge you're gaining and being vulnerable. I think being vulnerable is a turning point. Like,
it's unreal to collaborate with like-minded people. Like, there's people within our company that we can lean on each other, and like the community that has been built through social media is also spreading to our company. So we can sit down with, like, say, I'll sit down with, say, Sean, one of our other project managers, who's probably, he's one of the biggest leaders in the company. And
Tassie Builders blog?
Yep, Tassie Builders blog.
Yeah. I did think he was coming. I was looking forward to meeting him.
Unreal, but
Sean.
I can sit down with him or Isaac, and we can just shoot the shit. It doesn't matter if it's about the slab we're putting in, the frame we're putting up, something not going right at home, but we can work together as a community. And it's like we've got everyone here that we can, you know, talk to, but then also it's spreading towards the company as well onto on micro scale. So it's going really well.
And that culture, like, I know that night that I hit rock bottom, I broke down and I sat on Sean's doorstep crying, and he was the first bloke I went to. And like, we have that feeling with all of our leadership team, especially, but throughout the whole team.
Yep.
It's always a safe place. So yeah, you've got to have that around you.
So how, like, that interests me. Like, so how was he working for you at the time?
Yeah, yep. Sean's been with me since about 8 months after I started business, maybe a year. So yeah,
So he must be a good bloke, considering that his boss has just turned up and having a breakdown.
He's a ripper. You have no idea.
He gave me a smoke. We had a smoke together, I think, and sent me on my way. Stress relief.
Yeah, but even like say someone like Sean, just the passion that he's got, you can, like, everyone is at Zanetto's, we're really passionate about just building better homes, and you'll see it through like our stories and that, of like ways we can improve stuff. Oh, this is a little idea, but it's not, we're not doing it to be show off sort of thing. We're just doing it because we're really proud and passionate about what we're doing, and it's a really fun environment to be in. Like, it's from like where I've come from, that was all my own fault, to being here. It's just like you're just bubbling every day, and it's almost weird to be that happy at work, you know what I mean?
Exciting. It's exciting.
It is a hard one, but because we're not taught. Like, I don't know about you guys, but like, I got into my trade because I dropped out of school. I couldn't stand being told what to do. I hated sitting in a classroom. Like, I just wanted to be outside, having banter with some mates, like, listen to music on site.
Yeah.
Like, I never thought that I was going to get to where I did or where I am now. And like, so no one pulls you up and says, hey, fucking hang on a minute, you've got to learn the business side of things. Like, because that's where it all falls over. And like, I don't know about you guys, like, I lost the passion. Like, it dried up and was gone.
I said to Kyle, I was like, I'm about to leave. I'm done with this. I'll go sell wood heaters or something, you know what I mean?
Well, you're in Tassie, so you would have been.
It's cold down there. But you know, like, I've completely lost the passion, because I wasn't doing on the tools, which I really enjoy. I wasn't successfully being in the office because I was worried about what was happening on site, and you're just getting that snowball. It's been on this podcast a million times. You start not making, you don't know your data. You start chasing your tail. You sign up another house that you didn't quite well because you signed it up in a rush to pay for the last job you done, and then you fuck up the next job, and then you just like, it's just a snowball effect. And I got to a point where I could see, and then I started Elevate. I figured out what I needed to do for myself. I could see a way out, and I was very, very fortunate that I can have a fresh start without the world crumbling down around me.
Yeah.
But yeah, to be able to rebuild yourself is refreshing, and you can do that while you're still maintaining a business and go from there. But for me, I just wanted to bare bones it, just whole hog and strip it down. But it's a wild industry, it can be.
Well, it's very hard, isn't it, to just keep pushing.
Yeah.
Like, you like, at some point, like, I know you get some coaching and stuff. Like, you've got to realize that you need to spend time, money, and energy on yourself. But it's, I don't know where you guys are sitting with it, but like, I'm addicted to it.
Yeah.
Like, it drives me now. Like, I just want to learn more. I can't read or write real well, but that's what Audible's for.
That's a good point. Addicted to learning. Like, I pulled my old crew aside, and I was like, well, you guys haven't learnt anything since your apprenticeship. You haven't done a course in anything. You haven't done anything. Like, let's set some goals and build stuff. But like, it was kind of received a little bit negative. Like I don't like it. We didn't have a proper conversation, so I can't say for sure. But how it felt is like, I've done my apprenticeship and I've been a tradesman for 10 years. I don't feel like I need to learn much. But then, like, if you can surround your people with who want to learn, you will learn so much. And you're right, you do get properly addicted to it.
But it's also having, like, you don't know what you don't know.
Oh.
And so unless you're having conversations with like-minded people, because like, even now, like, it doesn't matter at what level someone's at. Like even tonight with these podcasts we've been doing, like you have a conversation, and like one little thing will come up and it'll spark something. You're like, fuck, I need to look into that, or I need to learn more about that. Like,
Yeah, I need to start running 10% of my jobs.
sorry to interrupt, guys, but we've got to thank our sponsors, because without them, we can't keep delivering you this incredible podcast. So massive shout out to DPS Constructions, Quoties, Live Life Build, and 44 Gallon Films. Make sure you go and check those guys out, support them so that we can keep delivering you this incredible podcast. So, like, business is now turned around. Like, you're kicking goals. Like, it's fantastic. Like, I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong, but I can't imagine there's too many builders in Tassie that sort of are doing or heading towards the quality that you're doing.
Yeah, there's probably two that I can really think of in Northern Tassie, but 3 or 4 that are probably in that space. They've all kind of got a value alignment and are going in the same direction. And one of them, quite closely, we've got a relationship where we'll actually pass each other work, and we'll talk all the time, because that's where we're going. So why not help each other get there?
Yeah.
Whereas 4 or 5 years ago when I started my business, I was like, I've come up with this, or this is how I'm doing it. This is my IP. I don't want to share this, because then they'll do what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Whereas the mindset's now switched. You're not competing with builders. You're here to help each other.
Yeah.
Because if you help them, they're going to help you. So you're going to grow quicker, and they're going to grow quicker.
Yeah.
So that was a big learning curve for me. And yeah, especially watching your stuff, like, we're all in it together.
So, like, I hear a lot of complaints by people all the time that get in contact with me, and it's like, oh, I'm in a country town, or I'm not in a big city and stuff. Like, Tasmania is not small, but it's not huge either. But like, Australia's growing rapidly, so like, it's a mindset thing, isn't it? Like, obviously it hasn't held you back. Like, you're aiming for the stars. Like, we've had some conversations. You want to build awesome homes, like, and you're going. Are you doing the passive stuff?
Yeah, we've pushed into that space. We've got our first certified passive project house later in the year, but the reason we got into it was probably touching base with people like Hamish and seeing what they were doing. Tassie's always 5 years behind Australia. Like, we're always the last to get everything. We only just got internet, didn't we, the other day?
Yeah. You tried dial-up?
But yeah, like, I suppose you've got to build your business around what your values are, and you've got to mitigate risk. So when you look at what's happening in Tasmania and Australia and New Zealand and what they're doing overseas, the countries that are ahead of us, risk mitigation is going to be what ensures your business
I like how you
survives.
say Australia is another country. Like,
Yeah, we've all got the same blood type.
You got to take a plane or a boat to get here. So
We're islanders.
But yeah, it really does help when you've got a mad scientist like Sean from Tassie Builders blog. He's the way he pushes, like, he sees a problem, researches the absolute crap out of it, and then brings it to an affordable proposal. Is just absolutely phenomenal. Like, and just, you know, you guys collaborate together, and you know, you can lift the standards together. It's I hope your missus doesn't watch this, but he's my boyfriend. Like, my phone will go off 24/7, 7 days a week, and it's Sean every time. And I suppose our relationship has developed, and now that I'm off site, he pretty well manages anything on site. Like, and I trust him. I know what he's doing is the best for the company, because he's got great morals. He's got good integrity.
yeah,
So I now trust him to say, all right, what you're doing on site with the rest of the boys, go for it. I'm going to work on the business to improve the business and make your life better by making more money and incentivizing you and trying to help you guys improve and pay for your education, so that we can all come up together. So yeah, you got to build those relationships. And like, Matt's super passionate about performance homes as well, and I know that on site he's not going to do anything that's going to put the business at risk, no matter what it costs. There's no shortcuts.
So how I first approached Zanetto Builders when I was still working for myself is I started. They were taping windows and wrapping houses, and I was like, what are these jokers doing? Like, put it on, put some bricks on it, put some cladding on it, who cares? Other than I was like, you know, you got to think, why are they doing it? And you start looking into the science of it, and you go, wow, we're building too standard. Like the code is one step from being illegal.
Yeah.
So 95% of builders are, building too standard, which
Well, they're not even putting, like, mate,
it's
you
not tested,
you drive
is it?
around, you see the building wrap, like
Oh.
they're using shit building wrap for a start, but
d-
like, it's
d-
not even run to the top plate. There's like a 300mm stripper on the middle,
Or-
the top, because they only run to the top of the window.
run on an angle and they're not taped. but like we started talking about that, and I could see the passion from you and Sean, and I was like, I need to jump on that train. And like we've like just learned together, and we'll get, it'll be 10:30 at night, and Sean will be like, have you seen this detail? And I'll be like,
Go to sleep, Sean.
no. I'll be like, no, but I want to learn more. And then I'll send him something and be like, that's really cool. You should, if you want to learn more about that, here's like this massive, but it's like just to be part of like building better homes together. It's unreal. Like everyone builds to the absolute minimum, but if you can build above standard, it's a measurable item you're delivering to the customer. And if you can walk away from a house and tap it on the way out and go, you're going to last, you should, you should hold your head high. Like, it's a good feeling. But when you walk away from a house and you go, geez, I hope I don't get a phone call, that's you can't do that for 20 years, can you?
But it's like, I know there's going to be so many people listening to this that going, it's all good to talk about that shit, but like someone's got to pay for it. But like, it's all about education, isn't it? Like, I'm sure you're doing, well, even just through your stories and your socials, like, you're educating your clients on what you do.
Yeah, and it's not expensive. Like, to do it well, what is it? Like 95% of insurance claims are due to water, external water leaks. So when you build a house, you got to say, all right, how do we protect ourselves and the customer and everyone moving forward? So, all right, we're going to protect the home from water. So an awesome rain screen. How do we do that? We find the company in Australia or around the world that has the best rain screen system.
Yeah.
We implement it. And let's just say in $1 million home, it might cost you maybe $10,000-$15,000 more, which is what, 1.5%. That's minuscule. And the way that you can sell that to your clients is it's cost you $10,000 or $15,000 now, but when your house fucking leaks, or when you've got moisture trapped in your walls and you've got to strip all the walls out, it's not going to cost 10 or 15. It's going to cost $60,000, $70,000, $80,000. So you're selling insurance.
I must admit, I'm only just catching up on all this. I did my passive house course like 4 months ago, and I'm just talking to a pro climber and stuff at the moment about learning about their wraps and stuff, because I want to start using all their products. But it's not just like what you're talking about. Like, it's a better air quality inside the home. It's a better sealed home. The aircon unit's going to run better. The heating's going to run better. So ultimately, it's going to be a more efficient home. The power bills are going to reduce. Like, there's so many benefits to it.
I was having a chat to Kyle today. It's like I recently built a house for my parents, which I was really proud of, but they're probably going to build one more time before they retire and downsize.
Because they've learned that you do things better now.
yeah, that's it.
The last one's got 4.
They'll build again, and I want to build them a reasonable, like a practical size passive home, because my gran had really bad asthma issue, and I can guarantee you, Mum's going to have it too. So if I can put a HRV, like wrap a house tight, put a HRV filtrated ventilation system through the house, like, her lungs are going to be better, and Mum might be around for another 5 years. It's just healthy living. We build an envelope that people spend most of their time in. It has to be healthy. Like, if you're just breathing in dust, mites, and mold, you're putting someone in a box, aren't you? Really.
But it's all about learning, isn't it? Like, you could easily go your whole career just doing things how you're taught and not think any different. Like, unless you sort of put yourself out there a bit and ask questions and go to seminars, do courses and things, you're not going to learn all this stuff.
Yeah. And we didn't, and that's where the industry's flawed. It's left for everyone to self-educate. There's nothing in there to educate builders on what a healthy home is. It's all right, house looks fucking cool, but how is it to live in? How is it to sleep in? Why are you waking up with a snotty nose and a cough every morning? And then that isn't passed on to the clients even further. So if you were to go and ask 100 customers, how many of them know about air filtration or what a healthy home is, how many do you think are actually going to have an answer? They go, house is a house.
Well, mate,
Just go to sleep.
they're trying to change like the Australian standards at the moment. Like, they're bringing in all the disabled and changing all those codes, upgrading things, but like the insulation and sarking stuff's still been put on hold because from what I can work out, like the volume builders are pushing back on it. Like,
That's exactly what's happening.
so it's like everything's driven by dollars, and it's a shame that everything's at such a low standard to begin with. Like, it's become the normal.
But I suppose if you're like, for me, align yourself with people with the right standards, and you know, if you like, you can, like Kyle's very good at explaining to a customer in the pre-construction stage of like, this is why we do what we do, and like, we're never short for work, so it's obviously working, and you can deliver a healthy home. It's a good feeling to walk away from a job that you're happy with.
So I think like to move on a bit, like that and what we're talking about just before with running your business and things, so many people are going to be listening to this and go, like, that's all good, I'm struggling to win work as it is. But like, let's touch on, because I want to touch on the team as well. Like, you've obviously understand your data, your overheads, and you've got things in place to allow you to have the staff you have. But like, before we get to that, like, you're building to a certain, like, to your standard. So you've obviously decided, this is my baseline. Like, I don't want to build to the code. I want to build better and better quality. So you've got to market that and be able to sell that to your clients.
Yeah, correct. Like, we draw a line in the sand of what our minimum acceptable home is. And then we market and educate our customers on social media of what it is and why we do it. And then we don't need to advertise or explain to customers why we do it, because that's why they come to us. Like, your product is what attracts your customer, and your customer trusts you because you're the professional in the space.
Yeah.
So we don't have customers come in and say, all right, I want to knock the Pro Climber off and go back to some foil around the house. We'll chuck a bit of Glad wrap on it and put some R2s in the ceiling and this and that. That's something that you set for yourself, and when you use education as a tool, you'll attract the right people.
Yeah. It's like, social media can be so powerful, can't it? Like, in a simple story and a few videos and things, you can really demonstrate the quality of your build and I guess show your company mission and vision, because it's all there and you're doing it. It's real.
Yeah, and like, not just building, like, look at how we met and look at how we met everyone in this room. Like, social media is powerful for personal development, team development, business development. Like, you can get everything you need to know if you reach out and educate yourself.
Yeah. So we'll talk about the team a little bit, because I do think I think so many builders and tradies are like, they want to get to the next level, but they're already getting told that they're getting stuck in tendering scenarios, already getting told they're too expensive, and they're only winning sort of every fifth or sixth job they quote or whatever it may be. How have you gotten to a point, like, explain to us a little bit about your team, and like, you've obviously had to get to a point where you're charging enough to be able to grow your team.
Yep. So on the customer side of things, we're in the customer experience market. So the way that you approach a customer when they engage you in the first 2 or 3 phone calls, that's when you're going to deliver that home. Well, that's when you're going to win that home. So I'm big on, if I get a customer application, 5 or 10 minutes, I'm going to pick the phone up, and they're going to get a voice call, and I'm going to get to know them, not even talk about the home, just unpack who they are, what they're looking to achieve, and just try and build that personal bond first. So yeah, customer wise, bring value and understand. Like, don't go in telling the customer this is how they should build this home. It's what do you want from this home? Like, why have you come to us?
Yeah.
Once you understand that side of it, that's easy. Team wise, it's about getting buy-in. Somewhere I failed early on, it was all about me. This is me, you're going to do it this way. I told you it's fucking 415 centres, it's 415 centres. Like, so getting out of that mindset that you know everything is going to be the biggest thing. And then getting buy-in from everyone in the team. So team meetings, catching up, and just letting them come up with a path. Like,
so who's in your team? Like, 'cause you've got a pretty big team.
Yep. So we have 2 off-sites, so myself and a general manager, and then we have 5 project managers. So we've got Matt, Sean, Oscar, Angus, Isaac. So five leaders. God, we're all around 30 years old. We're all
Yeah, we're all pretty young. So
pretty well best mates. And then through our organisational chart, we're trying to structure a project manager, a qualified carpenter, and an apprentice in each team and lock that in. Um, the whole team obviously understands the vision, especially the project managers. And the project manager's job is to ensure that their carpenter and their apprentice reflects them.
So
Like
are the project managers on that job?
Yep. So our project managers are on tools. They also do all the client communication, organising, invoicing material. Not invoicing materials. I mean invoicing. So anything to do with project management, that's their job, and I stay out of it. Whereas I used to micromanage that.
So you don't do the weekly or the site catch-ups with clients and stuff?
No. There'll be the occasional one I'll do, but where I found I went wrong is if I'm trying to be too involved, I'm not letting him do his job. And if I'm getting involved, I'm drawing information from the customer that I'm potentially not going to relay properly. Whereas if the guy on site that's building the home is a single source for everything, he's going to be able to deliver. So my role now is basically customer acquisition, business development, and then we do a handover. And the boys will run the job, and anything financial will flow back through me, and I'll still check in and still communicate with the client on a weekly basis at least. But yeah, that's pretty well how we structure things.
So if they're having a site meeting with a client and the client says, "Hey, I want to move that window here to there," like how does that get worked through?
Yep. So variations was always a bit of a difficult one. Early on, it wasn't very well managed. We now have a variation application form, which I educate the customers on in the pre-construction phase. And then we have 3 tiers of a variation cost that will be paid up front before we price the variation to ensure that when they want this variation, they're going to follow through with it because they've got skin in the game.
Yeah. Well, it's going back to quoting the job. Like,
yeah,
you've got to charge a fee for it.
You do, and the plans are their enemy, and they're also your best friend. Every job that we've had that's had a lot of variations was due to working with an architect or a designer that's given us a poor set of plans, and clients that want to cheap out in the early on stages and are only willing to spend 15 or 20k on plans rather than 50 or 60, and it's going to cost them more than that anyway.
Do you get involved with do you go to design meetings and things?
Yep. So with a couple of our projects, the big one Sean's on with the tennis court, I spent 14 months on Zoom with those clients before that. So we were best friends before we even started the build, flew them down, had dinner, and that relationship was built. So a bit like your pack process, very similar. That's where I got it from you. So thank you. But yeah, the pre-construction phase, that's where you build the home. Yeah. The delivery part's easy.
Yeah, it gives you the opportunity, doesn't it, to really, like multiple things. Like you get to build a relationship with a client and actually suss them out a little bit before you go into a building contract. The big one for me is you get an opportunity to anywhere along that journey make a decision like, hang on a minute, these clients aren't the clients for me. Like, whereas most builders are just tendering. Yeah. Like I've talked about this a fair bit on this podcast. Like I remember back in the day when I was in tender scenarios, and the first time I met the client was when I signed the building contract. Yep. Like I'd spent months with the architect, but I never met the client. But and then I think the other big thing is like through that pre-construction stage, you're listening and hearing, and I'm assuming you're receiving all the emails, but you're getting all that information that they're telling the architect or the designer. And so you can check drawings and see if things have been missed or whatever. You're not the builder that's turning up on site and having a weekly meeting with the client. They're like, oh, we thought that window was going to be over there. We talked about moving that. And then who's going to pay for moving that now? Like, oh, no, well, that's what's on the drawings. That's what I priced.
Yeah. And I used to approach the pre-construction phase very lightly. Like I'd price a job up quick and I'd get them inside a contract. And now I go about it completely differently. It's rather than a service for exchange of funds or however you want to say it, it's all right, you're interviewing me and I'm interviewing you as if you're going to be my missus. Like,
yeah, it's a relationship.
Yeah, I've got to be able to work with you for the next 12 to 18 months pretty well on a daily basis. Yeah. So if you're having a fight with this customer in the first 2 days, she's probably not your missus. Well,
it's true. And you realistically, you will be spending more time. Well, you will be communicating with them more than you are communicating with your missus. Like it becomes Like it could be a 6, 12, 18. Like we've had design, like those pre-construction stages go for 3 years, and then the build might go for 2 years. Like it's a long journey. And if you don't follow your guts and pick the right client, it's a shit 12 months, 18 months, 2 years.
I've done it both ways. I've gone the way of sign them up like you have. Sign them up, get in, start turning dirt, and then you haven't filtered the person. You're like, you get to the end of the job, you're like, I wish I never took that job on. I wish I had just said, we don't work well together, because really you're working with them. But I've also had jobs where I've worked for a year going through the plans with the architect and the client, and revision after revision, absolutely pretty much building it on paper before you actually start turning the soil. And like I can walk into their house now and sit down and have a coffee with them. Like we're good friends, and it's just it's night and day for the time that you put in at the start. But
it's like I don't know, I can't think of another word. I hate the word game changer, but it's chalk and cheese.
Yeah.
Like you some builders are amazed. Like we've gone on overseas holidays with clients. We've got multiple clients now. We go camping. Like we just had a big do at our farm over Easter, and we had some of our clients there with us, and ended up nearly seeing the sun come up and had a massive night. But like you've got to build that relationship. It's a long journey, and I think without building that relationship, you don't get that respect as a professional. Like if you're just, I think a lot of it comes back to dollars, doesn't it? Like most builders are chasing their tail, needing the job, signing the contract, not doing the homework. Their guts is telling them, hey, this client's going to be terrible, but they need money in the bank. And it doesn't change. Like if the client's shit at the beginning, they're going to be shit the whole way through the job.
Yeah, and that's backed up by knowing your numbers. If you're turning up their house for the next 12 months and you're losing more and more money every day, that's really difficult to put on a happy face. And then when they ask for a variation, they get put off by you. Like, oh, why is there a variation? You go, well, you don't tell them, but I'm losing 50, 100 grand in the back pocket here. Like, it's difficult.
Yeah, yeah. So what's the plans for Zanetto? Like, where do you go from here? So you've obviously turned a corner. You put a lot of time, energy, and money into coaching now, don't you?
Yeah, I spend 5 or 6 hours every day working on myself and business development. So that's probably most of my role now, because I understand that that's going to make these boys' life better on site.
Yeah.
Where are we going?
I think we're kind of forging our own way with a couple other builders in the same direction.
Yeah, we're trying to what we're doing now. We want to do it as best as we possibly can, and then we want to step into the next thing once we've nailed what we're doing. Like we've just got to get our systems and processes in place, which are working, but as you know, it's a growing thing, and as we grow it, and we feel comfortable in where we are, then we're looking for the next step, aren't we? And figure out how as a team we can grow.
Yeah, I don't think we're looking to scale in the near future. I think we've built a really good business model, but we haven't nailed the back end stuff, as you know. So before we look to grow any further, we've got to get that right. And then it's just what we do every day. We're passionate, and it's about taking one foot in front of the other, and just continual improvement. And then we're big on educating everyone around us. Like the amount of messages we get on Instagram and that of, oh, like, fuck, that's cool. Like, why are you doing that? Like, we're going to do that now. And you'll drive around Launceston and there'll be 20 people using Pro Climber, whereas 2 years ago it might have been 2. So it makes a difference.
Yeah. And like, so how do you, like, you've obviously got a really good team. Like, how is what you're doing attracting better quality subbies?
I'll talk that. When I first seen everything like Zanetto, like I was maybe a bit of a bitter builder. Not a better builder, a bitter builder. I unfollowed Kyle. I was like, oh, they're just doing stupid videos and all that sort of stuff. But then when you sit down and have a think about it, you're like, and I've like, you know, some builders get jealous quite easily. But now that I think that our team's expanding, and like we do have a really good culture, we catch up for beers, you know, we collaborate together as a team effort. I think that's spreading throughout our sub trades and other carpenters. And instead of people like 2 years ago going, oh, I'm not working for them, they just like, they do everything backwards. Everyone's going, what are you doing over there? How can we how can we implement this? Oh yeah, like, you know, they want to collaborate with you, whether that be work with you or collaborate with you. And you even see like your Sparkies and your plumbers now, they're going, oh, you know, you've put this WRB on. How can I make this tight so then you can patch it and, you know, we can achieve a certain level of air tightness. It's good to see everyone sort of starting to grow together. It's but you know, it's credit to Kyle and the team who are around to start with. They stuck to their guns and were confident in their product. That attracts people to go, you know, that actually makes sense. Like once you tear it down and look at it, you can then grow together.
And we, like, the first home we did with all that full system was my own. Like, I'm a big believer in doing it yourself before you try and sell it, because it's really hard to sit down in a concert with someone and selling something that you've never used or understood. So I think you've always got to experience it and use everything yourself, and understand it before you can pass it on to a customer and really explain it and the benefits and what you're doing to improve their home.
Yeah. And so you're like, you can tell you've turned up here, you're in your shirts and that, like you look at your Instagram, like everything's very smart. Like, so like all that sort of stuff's going a long way. Has it always been that way, or like did you get any?
No. Used to be techno and ciggies and singlets. Like our first 2-3 years, we were just the lads, and like I won't lie, I used to love those days. Like I enjoyed getting on site, smacking a can of Monster at smoke on lunch and a few darts, and turn the tunes up and take my shirt off and be mates. Like, but when you're looking to be a role model within the industry, there's certain standards you've got to set so that people look up to you and they follow the path you're setting. Because if you can't preach performance and value and turn up looking like a scrub.
We've just received a young fella from, and he's left his first year, left another bloke that probably doesn't have the best reputation to come over here, and he said quietly the other day, he goes, it feels good to walk down the street and be proud of what you're wearing. And I was like, that's coming from a 17-year-old kid. That's
awesome.
I was like, that's got to be commended. Like that's you know, that's where we're going. If it's coming from the bottom, it's a reflection of what's happened at the top. So
no, look, you're definitely doing all the right things. Like, so with, like, I know a lot of builders struggle and tradies struggle with their marketing. Like, have you got help with that, or is it something you've done yourself?
Initially, it was just us. Like, it was our passion. Going on camera, and that's how it started. Like Sean's a big one every day. Like you probably see him, he's on there showing what we're doing and explaining why we're doing it. It started like that, and then I spend a lot of time on the visual side of things, so making it unique and appealing, so that when people are flicking through Instagram or scrolling, they're going to get a smack. There's an awesome visual, so they're going to dive into the business further, and then they're going to see what and why we're trying to do things. But yeah, we've engaged a fairly decent team now and spend considerable funds every year on pushing what we do out to the right people, so we can really fill our funnel with clients that meet our perfect avatar, basically.
Yeah. So you're a big believer in, like we're talking off air before, like you're spending a pretty big chunk of change on marketing, but that's so you can build a long, I guess, runway of work in front of you.
Yeah, and your business success and stress minimisation and all that comes from having a good quality client pathway. And if you're attracting the right people and putting a process in place to filter out the wrong customer, like you might get 20 applicants that go through and complete your questionnaire, and you might only get 2 that will tick the box, and then out of those 2 you might interview them both and only get 1. But if we can bring 20 of those ones in, we know that we're going to have 20 good clients, and then we can pick the best of those other 20 that we've already qualified. And that's when your business, like your profit, your experience, the customer comes to you through value and what you do.
It's super important. It's super important qualifying clients in that.
Oh, mate, I used to, we did jobs there where I didn't make any money, and I sat down and I was like, oh, that looks wicked on paper. I'll price it up this week and we'll get a contract next week and we'll start the next week. And you go through it all, you don't learn anything, the relationship turns to shit. Because you didn't understand that your customer is the success of your business and the way you manage them.
You've just got to spend a little bit of time communicating, really. Like, communication's key. It's with everything. It's with your wife, it's with your apprentice, it's with your client, it's with your trades, it's everything. You just got to communicate as clear as you can and just be, have everything out on the table.
How harsh are you with your qualification form, like we're pretty harsh. If they don't answer all our questions, we might give them a quick email to say, hey, you've missed this question. But like my view is if they don't appreciate the form that I've sent them to help me deliver them a better project,
Yep.
they're not my client.
Yeah, that's your process to interview them without interviewing them.
Yeah.
And there's the same to interview you. If you get a customer that clicks on your questionnaire and it's got 50 questions and they go, well, fuck, I don't have that much time, well, they're instantly not the right customer. Over the last 12 months, our questionnaire changes because of the industry, the climate, interest rates and all that. So now we put certain hurdles in there that are going to better qualify our leads, such as how much cash have you got? So we try and work with customers who've got $500,000 cash and what their maximum budget is. Like worst case scenario, how much can you spend? So asking the really difficult questions early rather than going in and setting that bar low. I'd rather set it high and bring it down.
Yeah.
That's just expectation setting, isn't it? And honesty.
Yeah. Look, our questionnaires, we've obviously been refining over years now, but it's down to, I think, only about 8 questions or something. Those 8 questions are enough to tell us whether we want the job or not. But like something I only just seen it. I think I caught it last week because I was away for a couple of weeks. But you're doing some sort of Kyle's diary or some shit now.
Yeah.
Like, what's the deal with that?
Oh, mate, same vision as
I
you.
liked it. I liked it.
I'd try and get on there at 5 o'clock on a Friday morning, and I've just got different topics I've laid out for the next kind of 4 or 5 months. It's basically just me bringing up an issue or telling a story of where I fucked up and how I fixed it. It's that simple.
Yeah.
And I'll just give that to free to anyone that follows us and open the lineup, message, phone call, and I'll just ring them up. And I've sat there for an hour, like in a row consecutively after work, just sitting there fleshing it out with builders and just telling them what I do. And then I'll jump on my emails and like Robbie, like I'll send him all the spreadsheets that have taken me years and years to build because it doesn't negatively influence me by giving it to someone else, but it's going to positively impact them massively.
Yeah.
Like exactly what you do.
Yeah. Oh, mate, I think it's great. I think the more people doing it, the better. Like, we're all in this together. There's more than enough work for all of us. Like, and like we were touching on before, like, there might be a house that we both want to build, but that client might suit you better than me. Like, we're all different. Like,
yeah, and God, we have like Davies Construction in Tassie, fucking unbelievable builders and amazing process. And I used to look at them as a direct competitor, and now all we do is communicate and I pass prospect clients onto them to design, and they're giving us builds. Like,
yeah.
And if we hadn't have approached each other and reached out, like we wouldn't have had that relationship.
Yeah.
So it just flourishes when you help someone.
Yeah, definitely, 100%. The industry's really got to come together, like, and stop fighting each other. Like, that's a no-brainer, really, isn't it? And then tied that with education and more builders like us putting it out there. Like, one question I had for you, like, because you do a lot of what you do on your Zanetto Builders page.
Yep.
So there's clients seeing that as well. Because a lot of questions I get are like, fuck, like, boy, you said that, aren't you? You'll never get another client if you say that. Like, to me, I'm just an open book. Like, I tell how it is,
Yep.
and if someone doesn't like it, then don't come and build with me. Like,
yeah, if a customer sits down and we've got a good relationship and they say, Kyle, how much you want to make out of this house? And I tell them 200 grand and they can't accept that, well, we're a service provider. We've got mouths to feed. Like,
well, 200 grand if it was a $50,000 job might be a bit steep, but like,
yeah, but like, yeah, people pay for quality and they pay for good service.
yeah,
It's as simple as that.
yeah. So you got no hesitations with possible clients following you on Instagram and seeing that you're talking about your overheads and margins and all those types of things.
No.
Yeah.
If they don't want to come into a relationship, understanding that as a business we've got to make money,
Yeah,
not the right customer, straight away disqualified.
100%. My view as well. Like, and a client should appreciate that you're running a healthy business, that they're actually going to get it, especially in the environment at the moment where every
Security.
day you're hearing builders going bankrupt. Like, to know, like, for me, that's client confidence. Like, they know that you're going to take their job through to completion, you're going to deliver a quality job, you're going to install all the products that's in the specification. Like, there's so much to it.
I had a chat with a builder in Hobart on Monday night, and he said that when he had a big construction company up here, they'd actually show their customers their financial reporting. So that gives them the stability. doesn't it? Like if you can prove that you're making this every year moving forwards, they're not going to have any doubt in the back of their mind that you're going to go broke.
Yeah.
And they're already coming to you because of your quality and your service. So, you're just taking away any chance of risk and just, I suppose, building that relationship further.
Again, it's more education. There's nothing, like every single thing that we purchase, whether it's groceries, clothing, cars, whatever, like the margins on them are insane. And
Cars at the moment.
What I think what throws our industry out and makes it difficult is our end figures are so big.
Yeah.
Like people see 500,000 whatever and think, oh shit, the builder's making 10%, that's 50 grand. Like they might have to buy 500 dresses at $1,000 to spend $500,000 on dresses, but each one of those dresses probably got a 400% markup.
Yeah.
Like it's the same shit. Like,
Yep.
So, no, mate, I take my hat off to you guys. You're doing an awesome job. I think you're definitely setting a new standard. I like for younger guys, like I think it's really important that you, like you're going to social media and you're spreading the word and you're giving advice and you're reaching out to each other. Like it's going to be, the industry, like in 10 years time is definitely going to be a different industry.
Oh, definitely. And social media is the vehicle for that. And like 10 years ago, you wouldn't be able to jump on Instagram and find you as a builder's coach. And if I hadn't have found you as a builder's coach, I wouldn't have made half the changes I've made in the last 12 months. So,
cheers, mate.
If you're a young fella out there or if you run a struggling building business, take that money and put it into yourself and your business. It's going to tenfold your profit. Like there is no bad investment in yourself or your company. Yeah. Simple as that.
Invest in yourself.
Drop.
Invest in yourself and don't be afraid to be honest with your peers. Like I had my guards up and it just drove me into a hole. As soon as I let my guard down, like it's surprised me that the industry actually picked me back up. Like, and I didn't ask for it and no one done it like out of pity or anything, but a high tide, all boats rise. And we picked up together and now we're kicking goals. But like, if you had asked me 10 months ago, I would have gone like, just don't even touch this industry. But like, as soon as I let my guard down and actually started talking to people helped me. And now if there's anyone that like wants to talk about anything within the industry, I'm the first to like, let's go grab a beer. Let's just go sit in the car or something, or come to site and sit in the container and let's just chew it and let's talk to each other, because talking is the best thing you can do.
Yeah.
It to be honest saved my life. Like it was, it's just phenomenal what the industry can give back to you once you let your guard down and accept the industry. Like,
do you guys do anything else besides business coaching? Like, do you do breath work, like personal, like gym, exercise, like
run? Just go. Like the best thing I've done last year is just go burn some calories on the road. Just work out. Like if you are that busy, you can't find a time to work out.
Make time.
Yeah, you got to make time. You just got to put some. You just got to fight your demons on the road, sort of thing. Oh, that's what I found anyway.
Yeah. That's
but
about yourself, mate.
Yeah, I'm the same. If I don't go to the gym every single day or get out of the chair and break that pattern of constant work thinking, I'll just slowly go downhill.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I've tried meditating and all that, but I'm fucking that wound up. Just sitting there thinking about someone else meditating and it takes me somewhere else.
We would do ice baths, but that's just going to work in Tassie in the winter.
Yeah. But nah, like going to the beach, mate. That's my place to switch off. As soon as I hit the sand with my dog and partner, it's gone. Yeah. Fishing rod in hand. It's a couple of frothies on the beach.
It's the bush for me. Like I just try and make. Now I never used to, but now I make a conscious time to go in the bush, put the rifle over my shoulder, and I go fill the freezer. That's what I do. That's my time. I can have people with me. I can be by myself. You could come back an hour later. You come back 3 days later, and you just come back and refresh. You just got to. I find that now I've just got to make a bit of time to reset myself. I've always got to have a reset to go again. But if you never reset, you don't know where you're starting from. That's what I've found.
You have to do that, don't you? Mm-hmm. Like it's even. If you don't do it, you should. Like you've got to schedule in. Like I try and push my team now. Like have your 4 weeks holiday a year. Like whatever, schedule it out. Have 1 week every 3 months or whatever. Like everybody needs a reset to just take some time, chill out, refresh, bloody whatever, go fishing, surfing, whatever you need to do. But it's good if you're not right up here, you can't be right anywhere. Right?
It all starts here.
Yeah. Well, guys, look, really appreciate you coming on, especially flying all the way out from Tassie. You guys have had a big day, so keep doing what you're doing. Absolutely love it. I will have to catch up with Sean one of these days, but
we'll bring that.
Yeah, no, I'll come down, whatever. But keep up the great work. Love the socials. We'll put some links and stuff on the vid for the guys' stuff. But look, as usual, like, subscribe, comment. If you want to come on the show to tell your story, then reach out. We're here to help. And as usual, hope you've got a lot out of this podcast. See you on the next one. Everything discussed during the Level Up podcast with me, Duayne Pearce, is based solely on my own personal experiences and those experiences of my guests. The information, opinions, and recommendations presented in this podcast are for general information only, and any reliance on the information provided in this podcast is done at your own risk. We recommend that you obtain your own professional advice in respect to the topics discussed during this podcast.